off.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just got off with Dean, and he's going to be on in like 3 minutes, and I sent him the Zoom link and everything. So
Perfecto.
Yeah, I texted it to him as well.
Wow, we are on him. Like
you are on the ball.
Way.
I appreciate this. So where are you in LA and he's in New York? Is that it? Because the weather on the West Coast has been scorchy. I'm up in Spokane Valley and it's like super hot.
Wow. Well, Natalie's in LA.
Okay.
And I'm in New York, and Dean's in New York, unusually, right, Natalie? He's normally in LA.
He's based in LA and just took a quick trip out to New York this week. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I am from New York, so that is home for me. So LA and New York are both home for me. So this is
really where? What part of New York?
I grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Oh my God, yes. I lived in Stone Ridge for a while.
Very
and
cool.
Deanna behind me.
Hi.
She is from Stone Ridge, New York. So you
Very
know
cool.
Stone Ridge, right?
Yeah, I know Stone Ridge. I attended Vassar and Marist College, and I was a son of a professor that taught at both those colleges, and then interned in Harlem.
You went to Vassar?
Just for a very short period of time. I was kind of spoiled because my mom was an adjunct professor at both Marist and Vassar, so I attended only when she was teaching. So a semester here and there, but yeah, New York is home.
Yeah, we miss you.
Yeah, I miss it too. I haven't been home since like 2011. It's been
wow.
It's been a while.
That's a long time.
Yeah, very long time.
Just curious. So, what are the topics you'd like to talk to Dean about today?
I just want to see what besides the big leverage redemption coming out here on the 9th. I want to see how he's doing post COVID. What's new.
Okay, good.
You get to enter into the room.
Is he coming in?
He is coming in, connecting to audio now.
All right, great. So
hello,
how are you?
Good. Let me just shut this window.
No worries.
And then I'll become invisible after once you guys get going.
No worries. Let me get my timer up here. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate 35 minutes.
Yeah, no worries. I have my timer up here. Thank you so much for arranging all this. This is super exciting. All right.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. How are things?
Things are good. Good. We get to bring leverage back. I mean, come on, that's more fun than a barrel of monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely want to talk about the return of leverage. Being from Portland, it's close to my heart as well. Employed several of my acting friends throughout the years. So it's always good to have some good news, in a world where the past 16 months has been kind of a utopian kind of nightmare. And
really, what happened?
what went on? Exactly.
Really, what I meant?
So let me just do a quick introduction. Not that you need much of an introduction, but today on the Ponder All podcast, we welcome writer, producer, director Dean Devlin, known for his work as writer-producer on such blockbusters as Independence Day, Godzilla, Stargate, and The Patriot, director of Geostorm and Bad Samaritan, which scared me half to death. Very scary.
And it was in Portland.
And I frequented that where the valets work, frequented Jake's quite a bit. I miss that place. I miss Portland a lot. We'll get into that here in a second. And of course, TV, known for executive producing, directing, writing, Leverage, Librarians, most recently with Almost Paradise, The Outpost. And super excited to be talking about the return of Leverage Redemption, premiering on IMBDTV, July 9th. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Devlin to the Ponder All podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. So I hear you are in New York these days.
I am just for a few more days.
How's New York treating you? How is it being there as things are kind of opening back up?
It's wild. I was walking down the street today, and other than me and my daughter, nobody had a mask on, so it was a little terrifying. But they've really adapted. All the restaurants now have outdoor seating, and which is really something that would have been fun anyway, right?
Exactly.
So look, this is a city that got hit particularly hard, and it's awesome to see them rebound. maybe we're babbling a little too much, but
A little
that's
too
a
soon,
matter of
right?
well, I'm still very cautious. I'm still very cautious.
Yeah, up here, and we're both obviously both have a love for Portland, as you were, you were there doing Leverage and Librarians for several years. I moved actually because the family moved up north to Idaho, so I moved to Spokane, which is close enough to the
Oh,
family,
beautiful.
in the middle of the August fires. So I lived
Oh
downtown,
my gosh.
got my dream apartment downtown in 2019, kind of went through the nightmare of COVID, all the protesting that was going on, necessary trouble, necessary evil, and then the fire. So I had to leave in the middle of all that in September. And yeah, Portland will always be home, to me, and always have a very soft spot in that place. But I cannot wait to get back there and kind of see it reopen and kind of recoup from the craziness of last year as well.
Yeah, it was sad to watch what was going on there for as long as it was, and I root for it, and my fingers are crossed. There's still so many people that I love who are there, and
Yeah,
a city that meant a lot to me, and always will.
awesome. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Leverage Redemption. I know that you, when the return of this was filming in New Orleans back in, so you started in the middle of the pandemic. So first of all, how did how did the idea of kind of the sequel series? I'm noticing a lot online it's being called a sequel series, not so much a reboot, because it doesn't really need a reboot because everyone loves Leverage. How did the idea come about, and then what was it like? Did you face any obstacles? I'm sure filming in the middle of a pandemic. What were those
yeah,
like?
Well, to your first question, in all honesty, not a day went by since the original cancellation that I wasn't trying to figure out a way to get the show back up. I loved making the show. I was determined to find a way to make the show. I must have come up with a million different versions of the show that I pitched to people to see if I can get anyone interested. But it was about 2 years ago when I learned that Amazon was launching IMDBTV, and it just sounded like the perfect fit for what I do. And they were gracious enough to meet with me, and I found one of the most incredible group of executives that I've ever run into. I mean, really innovative, smart, adventurous people. And the more we talked about the show, the more excited they got about doing it. And then it just became, can we come up with the right concept that fits what they're trying to do? And when we came up with the redemption version of Leverage, that's when all the fires got lit. That's when they got excited. And that's when we knew we were going to be able to bring it back to life.
Awesome. So real quick, without giving too many spoilers away, where are we finding our folks now? Are we doing a strict timeline of when the show was canceled? Are we including what's going on in the world? Are we ignoring that? What's going on with them?
Well, we chose to ignore COVID,
awesome.
But other than that, it's 8 years from the ending of the previous show. 3 of the Leverage team have been running Leverage International ever since, and they've been working together ever since. And they find that Sophie is in a low point in her life, and they've come back to be with her to see if they can affect her in a positive way. And at that time, they meet 2 new characters. One is Harry Wilson, a fixer type lawyer who has worked for really, really bad people, and has only recently come to see that he himself is a bad guy, having helped all these bad guys, and he's been on the wrong side of history. And he wants to redeem himself. He wants to change the narrative of who he is. And we also meet Hardison's stepsister, who has a very, very different perspective. She's young, she's a lesbian. She grew up in a world that never knew a world without 9/11,
Yeah.
So her whole perspective is a very different perspective. So these 2 characters really gave us a great shot in the arm to bring this show back with energy. And unlike the original show, which was driven by revenge and a crusade, this is driven by kind of a more positive message of the process of redemption. And while we see it strongest in Harry, literally every single character is still working on their own process of redemption.
Excellent.
And this idea that the deeds we do going forward can change how we think of ourselves. And I think that's a really positive message today and
Awesome.
needed.
Yeah, definitely needed. And would you say that that positive message definitely influenced the day-to-day on set, being that the world was kind of on fire around all of us?
Well, the day-to-day was insane, because not only were we the first show back, in a pandemic, but we had 8 shutdowns because of hurricanes.
Oh yeah.
So we had hurricanes and pandemic, and it was an intensely difficult show to shoot. But the thing I want to shout out to is our incredible crew, because you've got 170, 200 people working on a show, and it only takes a few to say, "Oh, screw this," and to not wear their mask and go out, to bars at night, or and then the whole thing could have been shut down. But this crew, they so cared about one another. They not only cared about their own health, they cared about the health of the people that they worked with. And everyone was religious about these protocols. And, we managed to get through the entire show without one major hospitalization or one, without anything really bad happening. And that's entirely because of how strict the crew was in looking after themselves and looking after each other.
That's really good to hear. Super encouraging. Now, this premieres coming up July 9th on IMDb.TV. When I was doing research, I hadn't really heard about IMDb.TV as a platform for new series. So what's that like stepping into, with an entity like Leverage, something that's obviously your baby, something you've seen from idea to fruition, on TNT and on the Electric Now app. And now this new redemption story moving to a new platform. How do you prepare yourself mentally for something like that when obviously IMDb doesn't need any clout? They're a very well-known platform, but on the TV original series kind of spin, what was the ins and outs of that?
Well, I think the thing is, look, a lot of people cut the cord because it was getting too expensive. They're spending more than $100 a month on their entertainment, and they felt like that's too much to spend, right? So they went out and they got the streaming platforms that they cared about, and they paid for those. But then more and more showed up. Well, if you subscribe to all the streaming channels, you're paying as much as you were before, if not more, and you're still not seeing everything, right? So I think it was really brilliant to say, look, there's those shows that you're going to pay for, and that's going to be a very specific kind of experience, but a lot of people still like the television experience. They like being able to go make a sandwich during a commercial, or just take that moment to digest what you just saw for an act and talk to your friend or get on Twitter or whatever. And people want to get that for free. We a lot of us grew up with free television, and we still want to have free television. And this brings free television back, and the shows are designed for commercials. They're designed for that format. And, Amazon put together the most remarkable group of executives that I've ever worked with. And they're innovative, they're smart, they're daring. And, they took us on, and they said, all right, this is the right show at the right time, at the right place. And, when I said, okay, I'm going to start shooting now during the middle of a pandemic, they were kind of like, really? I said, yeah, don't worry, I'll pull it off. And they were like, really? But they supported us. They couldn't have been better partners, and we wouldn't have the show today that we have if it weren't for their tireless efforts to make sure that we were able to get this done.
Excellent. So it's going to run for 6 episodes this season?
So it's actually 16 episodes
16,
divided.
Excuse me.
In half. So we're going to drop 8 on July 9th, and then a few months later, the back 8 will come out.
Excellent.
And we're really, really proud of the show, and we're very confident that if you like the old show, you're going to love the new one. And we're pretty damn confident if you've never seen the show, you're going to like it too.
That's excellent. That is great to hear. Well, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to check that out. So, and some of my other research too, when I was looking at some of the interviews that you had given for some of the movies you have done and some of the other shows, we don't really get to know much about you. So I want to use this time. I was admiring kind of the deep fakes that you've been doing on Instagram and Facebook. Kind of just putting yourself out there, being silly. What are you looking forward to the most as we're, I hate to, I was just talking to a coworker about this. I hate using the phrase post-COVID because I don't really think we're there yet, but things opening up and things kind of feeling normal. Like, I'm going to go see Quiet Place 2 later in the theater. Like, I'm so excited about that. It's been forever since I've been able to do that. What is Dean Devin looking forward to the most?
All right. So
getting back to-
outside of work, because work and my family are obviously always the most important things in my life, but outside of that, I'm a guy whose entire life would get seasick on boats.
Mhm.
Always got seasick on boats. So I always avoided boats. So what did I do during a pandemic? I bought a boat.
Taught yourself how to not get seasick.
And I'm on the boat as much as I can. And I'm looking forward to a post-pandemic world where I can take the boat more places and bring my family to cool places and have cool adventures. And hopefully they don't get seasick.
Yeah, I have that a little bit of problem too, on like the Carnival cruises. Both times that I've gone as a youngster, that whole disembarkment, because they make you do this horrible thing where you have to put on your vest and then go on the hot deck, and that whole process of leaving the port always makes me super seasick. But once we're out there, I'm totally fine. I hit the bar and I'm good to go.
Well, I find that if I'm driving the boat, I don't get sick.
Ah,
So that's the clue for me. And it's a little bit like that with cars. If I find myself, like, if I'm in that scout van scouting an episode of Leverage and I have to sit in the back of that van for too long, I start, and I'll usually say, can I drive?
yeah. Well, yeah, it gets you something to focus on, right? As opposed to being at the mercy of the way someone else is piloting something. Totally understand.
Yeah, and look, when you're a control freak and you're not in control, it's not a good situation for anybody.
Definitely. I'm a Capricorn, so you don't have to tell me that twice. We have a tendency to be a little controlish, but we kind of hide it over being super nice. So
Say no more.
Going back to the topic of, you're saying work and family, obviously important to you. How would you say the pandemic itself this is kind of a silly open-ended question, but Portland is filled with a ton of independent filmmakers that obviously look up to you, that have been on your show. How would you say that the pandemic has kind of changed the industry, has in a way of kind of leveling the playing field as far as getting content seen, knocking down kind of like that glass ceiling? Has that changed at all, or is it more?
I don't know if it has done any good for that. Maybe, but I don't know. But I do know this. It definitely was a steroid to our transition to streaming content. Because while I think that we're going to be moving to an all streaming world, I think it would have taken a lot longer.
Mhm.
But with a big giant chunk of our society homebound for as long as they devoured a lot more content than they had before, and the way to get it was streaming. And I think people got a lot more comfortable with streaming faster than they would have otherwise. I think it would have happened anyway, but I think we're 10 times faster to those goals than we would have been.
Yeah, I remember the first month of shutdown, like March, everybody, March into April, was talking about Tiger King and Ozark on Netflix.
Right.
And it seemed like such a resurgence. I'm like, I don't remember any streaming show ever having quite this much. And then Cobra Kai, which is another favorite show of mine, had already wrapped season 2, and were smart, and they really kept their trailer for season 2 under wraps, and then they surprised everybody with the January 1st 2021 drop. So the idea streaming can be so playful now, like the rules have kind of changed for how people's devour content.
We're seeing it now with our show Almost Paradise, because we were on WGN while they were transitioning into an all news network. So they didn't promote the show. They didn't run any ads or anything. And the show performed poorly, as their entire network did. But since we've been on IMDb, I mean, it's just a massive amount of people have suddenly embraced it, because now they can get it, and they get it whenever they want. And it's if you go on the Amazon app today and look at most popular free TV, I guarantee you Almost Paradise is somewhere in the first 5 shows listed. and
I was-
has been consistently.
Yeah, is there talks of coming? Are you coming back for season 2, or is that still being worked out? Crossing fingers.
We're hopeful. We're very, very hopeful. We're already working on story ideas.
And forgive me for not knowing this, but was that shot on location in the Philippines?
It was.
Awesome.
It's the first Western television series ever to shoot entirely in the Philippines with a 99% Filipino crew, 99% Filipino cast. You know, I'm half Filipino, and for me to be able to get that many brown-skinned brothers and sisters working on a show was a tremendous thing for me. You know, in the United States, when you talk to most people about the Philippines, they know about Imelda Marcos's shoes and Manny Pacquiao, and that's pretty much it. You know, so to be able to kind of show the Philippines and show the amazing resorts and show that it's not just poverty porn, that it's a place of 7,000 islands. You know, it was a great experience to make the show, and again, very personal for me to be able to explore that part of my culture, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, I actually in 2018, I worked for a ticket aggregation company, SeatGeek, and we had some business in the Philippines working with partners there. And one day, one of my mentors sits me down and says, you know, we always talk about sending a team there to train for 15 days. Would you like to go on the company dime?
Wow.
To Clark, Philippines? It's a big like BPO city. And I was like just dumbfounded, just handed this opportunity, got to have a layover in Hong Kong on both getting there and back. And I had such a blast there. It was hard to, you know, really focus on work because the team that we worked overnight. And then, you know, during the day is when we were supposed to sleep, but, you know, the karaoke bars are open during the day for those who work nights. So we
it's like another planet.
It is.
You know, it's you know, I was saying I'm mostly known, you know, for doing science fiction and world building. You know, it's like a science fiction doing that show because it's a world that most people have never ever seen.
Yeah, we were able to go to one of the famous volcanoes right by there. Forgive me for not knowing the name right now. Hot Springs. Touring the volcano, we had to take 2 Jeeps up, and it felt like we were literally going into Isla Nublar on Jurassic Park. I was like, this is wild. I had such a blast there. So awesome. So what's next on the agenda? Are you gonna get some rest, or are you gonna jump on to the next project? What's next for you?
I've heard about this thing called rest.
Yeah, I was wondering if you have.
I heard about it. It sounds good. I may want to explore that at some point, but right now my full bore is to try and get another season of Leverage, to get another season of Almost Paradise, to get another season of The Outpost. And we have several new pilots that I'm hoping somebody's going to pick up. Hopefully it's IMDb, because I love working with those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, my joy is in my work, and as long as they allow me to keep doing it, I'm a very happy guy.
That's great to hear. So again, Leverage Redemption premiering July 9th, IMBDTV. If you haven't yet, please download the Electric Now app. I just did that recently. It's so cool to sign into an app and TV is just streaming.
Yep.
It's just going, and it's like you're in the middle of a TV show sometimes, but I like it.
That's right. You don't have to worry about deciding what to watch. It's already up there. And if you like it, you can find it in the app and start it from the beginning.
Awesome. Yeah, I was reading a lot about, we have a little bit of time here left, reading a lot about that idea to get that going. In 2019 is when that launched, right? How many subscribers are
well, there's no subscribers. That's the beautiful thing. It's totally free to anyone who wants. We're getting about 2.5 million people a month watching.
That's where that statistic comes from. Okay.
And we're in 100 million homes. So just whether or not people want to download the app and look at it, but it has some really fun stuff in it. There, you know, we just recently added the old Flash Gordon TV series and Milton Berle's TV series and Felix the Cat and the old Betty Boop cartoons. I mean, some really fun old stuff has been on there. And then there's some interesting, there's a series that was never shown in the United States out of Canada called Grand Star, and we've got that on the app. So yeah, no, I highly recommend to check it out. 99% of it is free, but if you don't like watching the commercials, you can scroll down to the bottom 2 rows and you can purchase anything. And then there's no commercials.
Awesome. Yeah, I will continually watch that because I like the idea of TV on my phone. Just something to keep me busy as we prepare to get out into the real world. Well, Dean, thank you so much for meeting with me today. Congratulations on Leverage Redemption. I hope nothing but the best for more leverage, more librarians, more outposts. And I will see you soon. We'll talk soon. Okay.
It's a pleasure. I hope to speak with you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much,